Changes could be coming to your child's learning, especially when it comes to the books in the library. How new standards could impact their education.
And our first round of rain wrapping up, but another is on the way. The important updates tonight in your First Warning forecast.
The first abortion-related case to come before the Supreme Court since Roe was overturned, when a decision on the availability of the abortion pill could be made.
Well, the State Board of Education met today to start the work of implementing some major new education policies signed into law this year. Thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Marin.
And I'm Britt Moreno. Now, they took up several items, including new curriculum and new restrictions on books in your kids' libraries. Our Ryan Chandler explains.
After the session ends, the work begins to bring new standards for Texas education. That falls on the 15 members of the State Board of Education, tasked with defining policy for Texas's 5.5 million public school students.
What would be suitable for our children or not suitable for our children?
On the to-do list Wednesday, cracking down on explicit books that lawmakers restricted this session.
I'm talking about graphic detail. Those are the materials that we fought to remove from the school system.
Plano Republican Jared Patterson's Reader Act directs the board to approve new policies for library material. The new rules include a ban on buying harmful, explicit, or vulgar material, a rating system for every book sold to school libraries, and an explicit recognition that parents have the final say on the books their kids can read.
We know that their parents are not present in the school system, so we fought back against materials that you couldn't show on your program.
Controversy over sexual material also interjected into sex ed.
These are the guardrails of how human sexuality and reproduction must be taught.
Some board members pushing back on the curriculum requirements dictated by the legislature.
It must present abstinence from sexual activity as a preferred choice.
We seem to be at odds with our curriculum and the research. At what point would it be appropriate to address the legislature concerning the laws that they make about what should occur in our education system?
That won't be until 2025. Until then, the decisions in this room impact what's taught in classrooms across Texas. Ryan Chandler, KXAN News.
And the Reader Act you heard Ryan mention is currently being challenged in federal court. Booksellers filed a suit saying the law violates free speech. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals heard arguments late last month, and the judges did not indicate when they could rule on this case.
PEN America released a list of the 11 most banned books of the 2022-2023 school year nationwide, and it found over 3,300 book bans affecting over 1,500 titles, with more than 40% of those bans in Florida. But let's take a look at the top 5 tonight. The #1 most banned book is Tricks by Ellen Hopkins. It has 33 bans, and it's about teenagers falling into prostitution. The next is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison with 29 bans. This one is about obsession with beauty and conformity and asks questions about race, class, and gender. Numbers 3 and 4 are technically tied with 27 bans. Those are Looking for Alaska by John Green, which is a fictional story based off Green's life, including explicit and sexual content along with loss, and A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, which is described as politics, power, passion, evil, and sexuality. Number 4 is Gender Queer, a memoir by Maya Kobabe with 26 bans. This is a personal story about what it means to be non-binary and asexual.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to take up a case regarding nationwide access to the abortion pill mifepristone. A decision could decide whether the drug remains easily available, even by mail. The justices will hear arguments early next year, with a ruling due by the end of June. The Biden administration and drug maker Danco are defending the FDA's federal approval of the medication, and they're asking the high court to reverse an appellate court ruling that would limit access to the drug even in states where abortion remains illegal. This is the first abortion-related case to come before the Supreme Court since it voted 6-3 to overturn Roe v. Wade last year.
First Warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, wonderful to have slow, steady, soaking rain much of the day, and maybe even more wonderful that it's wrapping up in time for the evening rush hour. Rain was a lot more numerous 6 hours ago than it is now. Zooming in fact, to the Austin area, all of our roadways are dry, or drying as we speak. No rain falling in the city right now. Just a few little sprinkles up the road from Briggs over toward Lake Victor and in Lampasas County. It is still cloudy and it is still brisk. Temperatures have been about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. Mid-50s right now with some welcome rain today over the lakes. We'll take a look at your lake levels in just a moment. Coming up, how much rain fell and where, and an update to our next round of rain on Friday. We're also taking a first stab at Christmas weekend in your First Warning forecast.
Hamas militants carried out one of the deadliest single attacks on Israeli troops since the ground invasion of Gaza began more than a month ago. The Israeli military reported the deaths of 10 soldiers in the Gaza Strip, 9 of whom died in a single ambush attack yesterday near Gaza City. This as the Israeli military offensive intensifies in all parts of that Palestinian territory. We are hearing reports the Israeli military and government is sending airstrikes to parts of Gaza where civilians have been told to go for safety. President Biden said the Israeli military is using indiscriminate bombing methods, and the patience of the world is running out with its military tactics. A first-of-its-kind deal made at the COP28 climate summit. Some say it's a move in the right direction.
Plus, a major recall from Tesla, what you need to know if you have one.
And some North Texas students are receiving a gift that will help them now and in the future.
Delegates at the COP28 International Climate Summit in Dubai today agreed to move away from fossil fuel consumption. It's a first-of-its-kind deal signaling the possible end of the oil age. But some participants complain this pact just doesn't go far enough. Nearly 200 countries, including the U.S., agreed to triple renewable energy production by 2030. But as you'd imagine, oil-rich countries like the United Arab Emirates want to keep fossil fuels on the table. So the final language of the pact calls for a transition away from fossil fuels instead of a complete phase out of fossil fuels. And there's still loopholes to allow countries to keep burning coal, oil, and gas.
Heads up for Tesla owners. Austin-based Tesla is recalling more than 2 million vehicles. It is tied to defects in the system that's supposed to ensure Tesla drivers who use the autopilot feature are still paying attention to the road. Now, the recall follows a 2-year investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration into a series of Tesla crashes that occurred while the autopilot system was in use, some of those involving fatal injuries. The agency says the system's method of making sure drivers remain attentive while using autopilot can be inadequate. The recall covers models Y, S, 3, and X produced between October 5th, 2012 and December 7th of this year. Tesla will release software updates that include additional controls and alerts.
Well, just a short time ago, the U.S. House authorized the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. The vote fell along party lines, 221 to 212. The inquiry will last months. House Republicans are investigating whether the president and his son Hunter engaged in an influence peddling scheme, but so far have not provided any evidence to support that claim.
Well, we're almost halfway into the month of December, and today finally brought our first measurable rain of December. Only 0.07 of an inch at Camp Mabry so far. A little more, 0.12 at the airport. Obviously, this is just a light amount and not enough to raise Lakes Travis nor Buchanan at all today. But another round is coming. Some updates on that next.
Well, the pandemic revealed so much, including just how many Texas students don't have computers and internet access at home.
And even now, many students still struggle without the internet to help them with homework and their future careers. Wayne Carter shows us a North Texas community working to change that.
If you need a mouse pad, let me know before we get started.
As long as most kids can remember, people have asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? Well, this class encourages them to chase it.
We do remodeling, new house builds, corners, house extensions, and open and close patios.
It's about tattoos, piercings, and just a little bit of beauty.
This is Career Prep, a class of all seniors, all focused on what comes next after high school.
Open up a door for us, show people what we can do, make money while doing it.
Alexander's making a website for a barber shop he'd like to open.
I'm trying to get into college for real estate, and also this could be a side hustle, barbershop.
He and his classmates are using software and programs to help them not just envision a business, but market it. There's a problem, though.
DISD do give them a computer to work on through a year, but you have to remember DISD takes that back.
Southeast Dallas is an internet desert where many families not only don't have a computer, but also don't have internet access at home. So students get stuck after they graduate, and DISD takes that computer away.
I really didn't grow up with, I guess, money. We grew up in, it was like 4 siblings, 2 cousins in one apartment, our parents, and then my aunt and my uncle.
The nonprofit CompuDot has stepped in, giving each one of these students a laptop loaded with programs to help them grow a business, a hotspot so they can work at home where they may not have internet, and best of all, when the year is over and they complete the class, they get to keep the computer and internet.
This gives me a big jump in my career. You know, I didn't know nothing about marketing, nothing about entrepreneurship, and this just helped me boost my business.
Skyline's the only school to have this unique partnership in an area with one of the greatest needs, helping turn those long-time dreams.
How can I display my passion through my website?
Into real-life professions.
And that was Wayne Carter reporting. Going in depth, just last week, AISD announced it will begin installation of low-footprint broadband communications towers, or monopoles, at 9 schools over the winter break. It's called Project Lighthouse, and the district says it's going to bring internet access to students in neighborhoods the district says have historically been limited in access. AISD expects that work's going to take about 3 weeks per campus, and the construction will not interfere with the daily drop-off or pickup of any students. The poles will be 120 feet tall and will be fenced off. You can find more about where these poles are going to be located under this story over at KXAN.com.
And David is joining us now. It's kind of the type of day where you want to make chili or have hot soup or something, something cozy.
It is. That rain was welcome.
Yes.
And it kept things kind of cold much of the day today. Now, though, look at the radar. It looks much different than it did early this morning, midday, even early afternoon. Rain has cleared Austin. We're saying goodbye to round number 1. Still a few little showers, light to moderate, east of Highway 77 near Old Dime Box, about to exit Lee County and exit our viewing area out toward College Station. Since midnight, we've had some areas getting up to 1/4 or 1/3 of an inch. Some of the heaviest totals close to Mason and Fredericksburg, where 0.35 fell since midnight in the rain gauge. Closer to town, Kyle, Lago Vista, kind of disappointing rain totals, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Close to 1/10 of an inch in much of Austin. Now, though, things are drying out. Doesn't look very nice outside under cloudy skies still. Temperatures are cool. 54 in Llano, 51 in Mason and Lampasas, mid-50s up and down I-35, including 54 in Austin. Rain like this can spike the mold count, but we have not seen that yet. Mold is actually down, and cedar almost completely knocked out. Always helpful to have falling raindrops take the cedar out of the air and put it into the ground, at least for now. You can see some on and off light rain in our area, but now some drier air has temporarily moved in. Still, though, we've got another round on the way, and it's all from this. A big storm system cranking up over Arizona. The Sangre de Cristo Mountains north of Albuquerque in New Mexico could get 26 inches of early season snow from this, helping all the ski resorts with a nice opening soon. Water vapor imagery showing a big storm system cranking up to our west, but unfortunately we have a bad update for our prospects of beneficial rain, and it has to do with the track of this system. We've been showing you a track of this system which would take it more toward our area, leading to a wetter solution on Friday, but now, at least for now, it does appear like the storm may track a bit farther north, and that could mean lower rain totals. I know, it's breaking my heart too. It seems to happen every single time, but there's still time for it to change, hopefully. The clouds and radar forecast showing just an isolated shower for the next few hours. Most of us kissing this first round of rain goodbye. Overnight tonight, a low 20% chance of a few raindrops. Most of us dry then, and a mainly dry, albeit pretty cloudy day tomorrow. Here comes the next round of rain on Friday. Watch the timeline. I'll update you on the sunrise forecast, which is first that the rain has pushed back by several hours, not entering the hill country at 3 a.m., but instead maybe 6 or 7 a.m. on Friday. This is good news for Austin's rush hour, maybe unaffected by these storms. The second thing, yes, we may still see some heavy downpours, some breezy winds, and some lightning with a few of these storms, but as it moves into the Austin area by midday, early afternoon, it's just not as bulky and impressive as the forecast I showed you yesterday. Hopefully we still get a few heavy downpours at your house, and in our eastern counties through 4 or 5 p.m. After that, though, your dinner time plans and your nighttime plans, maybe the Trail of Lights Friday night, they do look dry. Also dry sunshine returning through the weekend. Yeah, you bet. With the shift in storm track, our rain total forecasts have shifted as well. Right now, it looks like we get less than an inch, maybe less than a ½ inch, depending on how this pans out. I'll keep you posted tomorrow. Okay, tonight, just a low chance of rain, chilly and cloudy in the upper 40s. Tomorrow, it's warmer with a break between rounds of rain, only a 10% chance of a shower. 80% chance of some brief rain on Friday, then breezy, cooler sunshine blowing in behind that storm. A really wonderful forecast through much of next week. And as we look preliminarily toward Christmas weekend, well, Christmas weekend may be overall warmer, but also wetter than normal.
David, I know you'll like this next story. The most stellar show of the winter peaks tonight and tomorrow. And this event is a little different than others throughout the year. KXAN senior science reporter Eric Henriksen takes a closer look at the new discovery that may reveal why.
The Geminid shower is one of the brightest meteor showers in the Northern Hemisphere.
Each December, the night sky lights up as tiny rocks rain down and burn away.
It's one of these fundamental processes of the solar system that you can just see.
21-year-old Wolf Suker is an undergraduate student at Princeton University who's recently taken a unique look at this shower.
The Geminid's meteoroid stream is this tube of particles in space that every year Earth will fly through this tube. And when Earth flies through the tube, the meteors in that tube hit Earth and we see them as streaks in our sky.
So what created this tube?
Most streams are formed by comets regularly passing by the sun. As they do that, they release a bunch of material.
But research scientist Jamie Zalay says that the Geminids were born from the remnants of an asteroid.
It probably all formed very rapidly and catastrophically.
Jamie and Wolf published a paper this summer revealing that a violent event likely created the debris cloud.
This could be a thermal breakup. As the asteroid or its parent body got closer to the sun, it kind of exploded due to internal stresses caused by heat.
Or less likely, a collision of some sort. The team came to the conclusion after running several simulations using data collected by the Parker Solar Probe.
We got the first close-up visible image of the Geminid's meteoroid stream.
The debris tube was found further away from the asteroid scientists believe created it.
The only way to get this material outside the orbit to be consistent with the images we got with Parker was to have something very catastrophic, very intense happen.
A hypothesis supported by Wolf's computer models.
It is very useful at this stage of my career to see the process of how to get a paper from like conception of an idea to it being published. It takes a lot of work to go through that process.
Eric Henriksen, KXAN News.
Well, as Christmas nears, watch out for the Grinches, the mother accused of stealing from her own family. Police arrested a Florida mom after they say she lied about stolen Christmas gifts. Deputies say Shauna Hudson reported her home had been burglarized on November 19th, claiming Christmas gifts were stolen, leaving her kids without gifts. While investigating the case, though, law enforcement was able to coordinate a surprise gift donation for the family. But deputies say a tip led detectives to evidence that Hudson had lied, and the items reported stolen were found hidden at a family member's home. Detectives arrested Hudson for making a false report, and then the Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marcino posted a video to the sheriff's office Facebook page taking Hudson to the what he calls Marcino Motel for the charge, along with a Grinch, it appears in the video. The post refers to Hudson as the Grinch and says she will have plenty of time to think twice about stealing Christmas, and she'll pay the price for taking advantage of the system.
And we don't know who coordinated the Grinch, right, in all this?
Maybe, I guess the sheriff's office?
Okay. Huh. Well, that is a new way to bring someone in, I guess. There's always good in the world, though. So someone donated a pair of rare gold Nike shoes to the Portland, Oregon Rescue Mission. And now those shoes are headed to the auction block and could fetch a high price, money, of course, that will help other people in need. An employee at the Portland Rescue Mission noticed shiny gold shoes in a donation bin and figured they had to be worth something. So they took them into a shoe expert who confirmed they are indeed a rare find. And it turns out they're size 12.5, and they were maybe 5 pairs in all, made for film director Spike Lee. He and his party wore them to the 2019 Oscars the night he won for BlacKkKlansman. Spike Lee had famed Nike shoe designer Tinker Hatfield customize the Jordan 3s. The mission reached out to Spike Lee's company to see if anyone was missing a pair of the golden shoes, but they never heard back. So these shoes are estimated to be worth more than $10,000, maybe even more. And now they are in New York, part of Sotheby's Emergence sneaker auction. Bidding closes December 18th. All proceeds will go back to Portland Rescue Mission to help all those folks in need.
Well, coming up tonight on KXAN, you can catch Quantum Leap at 7, followed by Magnum PI, and then the Weakest Link, and then we're back at 10 o'clock with KXAN News.
So you can join us an hour earlier for KXAN News at 9 on CW Austin, and here is where to find us.